But yeah, we have Pablo, golden retriever, interested in the board and train or the daycare and train, trying to address barking, jumping, counter surfing, wants some recall. He's got some recently he's grown into resource guarding, looks like.
Yeah, we were at a lake house over the 4th of July, and he got into a fight with a dog about the neighbor had made jalapeno peppers, so like it was like bacon fell, and so he got in a fight about that. And then the next day, got in a fight with another dog about like a ball, like they were like fighting over a ball.
Okay.
He plays all the time, like at dog parks around here. Is like played really well most of the time, but that's obviously a concern of ours, and we want to make sure he's like socialized and good in all settings. So
yeah, so go ahead and continue to fill me in on Pablo and like what you're looking for, and you can go in more detail about everything you've listed here in the consultation request form.
Yeah, absolutely. So we are interested in daycare a couple days a week. We're interested in boarding as well and just getting him established with you guys. But then of course we're interested in like some of the aggression / behavioral / obedience training. So I think our main goals, we want to get him trained on an e-collar. And so we love that you guys do that. So we definitely, that's a goal of ours. And then, just helping with like general, like, barking stuff. We live in a condo building. Some of that's like tough when people are like walking around, but like counter surfing and jumping on people when they come to our place or we get somewhere. So that definitely we want to address. And then he's good when we walk him. We have one of the harnesses. It's like the easy walk harness. So he's fine if we have that on him because he can't really pull. But if we don't, he pulls bad on walks. So we'd want to address like healing, and then just the come recall. He's like 70% of the time listens when we say come when he's off the leash. I mean, he's pretty good about it. But of course, like we want that to be 100%. If we say the word hungry, he'll come running, like no matter what, but we shouldn't have to use that to get him to come. And so yeah. I don't know how it happened that he knows that word, but that's just like what stuck. So that's kind of our main goals. We had bought an e-collar and I had tried to train him on it a couple times when we were up at our lake and we were, playing fetch, and I tried to read the manual and go through it, and I was somewhat unsuccessful. Like he would just stare at me, and I don't think that I had the skills to get him set up with that. So that's definitely, kind of our goals. And we, as far as like daycare, boarding, private lessons, whatever it is, that was kind of where we wanted to get your advice. We are looking to go away over Labor Day for about 10 days. And so we were like, is that a good time to do board and train? But we wouldn't want to wait until then. So we didn't know if it made sense to do some type of like daycare and training or private lessons and then go into board and train then, or if you don't think that even makes sense. So that was kind of where we wanted your expertise and thoughts on that.
Okay. Anything else I should know about Pablo?
I don't think so. I mean, he's most of the time he's a great dog. I would say he needs to work on, if I had to pick some things, listening, doesn't always listen. He can be really stubborn at certain times. And then he's gotten much better about jumping on people, but it's still somewhat of a concern, jumping up on counters, stuff like that. And
he doesn't really do that at our house. Like he doesn't counter surf here, but like again, we're at the lake and there's 10 kids and a bunch of other dogs and people and food out. He's jumping up everywhere, So we obviously don't want that happening. It's just the two of us. We don't have kids, so it's easy to control it in our environment. But then when we get into a bigger environment, and when he showed the aggression, we had been at the lake for 4 days, and he had, maybe slept 6 to 7 hours a day, like hadn't napped, and it was day 4 of it. So I think part of the aggression may have just been like overstimulation, overtired. Like I think that played into it a little bit, but still we're around, different dogs. We travel all the time. He's in a lot of different environments, and we want to make sure that we're set up for success, and so is he, and that we're not putting him into a situation where that's going to happen. And then he is also doesn't, you know, whatever skills that we need to know to watch out to make sure that that doesn't happen. So.
Okay. And then for the resource guarding, how many moments or how many like times did it happen again?
It's not like,
and with
yeah, like it was like twice or 2 or 3 times with the dogs. Like one time we were at the park with our friend's dog and they kind of like snarled over water.
I would say it's really been like with dogs, it's been about 4 times. It's been just kind of randomly with the dog at the dog park. The second time it was kind of over a bowl of water that we had out. Another dog, another golden retriever had come up and started drinking water out of it. And Pablo kind of, you know, that time I wouldn't say they went after him, but he definitely got like
they just like
a little
snarled.
nasty. And then the last 2 times were both this past or 2 weekends ago with 2 other dogs. One was over a piece of food, and then the other one was they were playing with the ball. And they were fine for in the first 20 minutes of playing with the ball, but
not even 20 minutes. I mean, they played from 10 a.m. until 3 p.m. fine, and then just got into it at like 3:30. And the other dog, the day prior with the bacon, they had played from noon until 6 o'clock at night, totally fine, you know, and like played fetch and ran around and jumped in the water and, you know, we're fine. And we live down in River North, and so there's a big field near Caprini Green, and we'll go, and there's always a bunch of dogs running around. He loves fetch, and he'll run around and like is really fine with kind of like whatever dog comes around. I think the only thing I notice is like sometimes, like yesterday, for example, he was running around and there was this dog that was kind of like barking, and I don't know if the dog was barking like "get away from me" to all the other dogs, or if he was whatever, but he didn't, like from his tail, it didn't look like he was like playing. And Pablo's just like, like he's just like a goofy golden. Like he doesn't, I don't know if he like is aware, like maybe just like stay away from that dog for a second, you know? So I guess just those instances made us worried to like throw him into a daycare setting where, you know, like there's 20 dogs and you don't really like, we like that you guys have way more structure, and we feel like safe that like if he were to snarl at something or get into a fight, that there's going to be like control, and that kind of stuff's not going to happen, versus throwing him into a situation where there's 20 dogs and people may be ill-equipped to be like handling, you know, the situation. So
it's also worth mentioning too, we've had a couple incidents with little kids, not like anything crazy, but he has gotten, it seems like little kids, he seems to
but that was like he had a bone, and like our friend's like 6-month-old was like crawling up, and he like, you know, got defensive of the bone. And then our nephew's 2 and like grabbed his face, and he like tried to poke his eyes, and he snarled at him. Like again, this is like when we're at the lake, it's kind of a madhouse if you are not catching that vibe. And then like we were on the boat, and the 2-year-old kind of like fell on him when he was sleeping, and he like snarled up at him. So like again, we want to stop that behavior. Some of it I get is like kind of like just a reaction, but of course, like we eventually want to have kids. We don't want to have, we're going to continue to have them around nieces and nephews, and we don't want it to be a situation where we're nervous that he's going to, you know, snap at someone.
Yeah. Okay. Anything else?
I don't think so.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, it just sounds just like a lot of kind of no boundaries there. So like dogs can be dominant in different things. So like people, like, the trainers here are dominant in like dog training because they don't dog train. But like when we have a one-on-one session with like someone who's like a plumber, right? And then we're talking about dog training, we're dominant. But then like, let's say we start talking about plumbing, they're dominant, right? So whatever it is that he's more dominant in the food, water, ball, anything, right? Any like potential like threat that's coming towards him, he will just, try to warn them, like, you stay away, this is mine, right? So it's not, and maybe it could be like, because dogs are also resource guarding areas, like territorial, right? Have you ever noticed that from Pablo? He's like, exactly. Yeah. So he's more like this is mine.
And he's obsessed with food. So we had a trainer, we did like a 4-week training with Tucker pups, and it was a lot of like positive reinforcement treats, you know, all that kind of stuff. But she, at the end of it, was like, I have never seen a more food motivated dog. Like, she was just giving him his own kibble, and he was like acting like it was high reward treats. Like, he's nuts about food. So, which is good, but he's also very stubborn. And so we're like, we can't just like give him treats and like think he's always going to listen. Like, we need to tick this up a little bit with the training.
Yeah. And plus, you're not always going to have treats, you know, when you're with Pablo, or like, you know, if he's resource guarding and you're trying to, I mean, it could be if he's really, really into the kibble, like he's guarding something, you show him another piece of food, he's like, oh, what's that? Food? Okay, I'll take it, you know?
Yeah.
But doesn't sound anything out of the ordinary, just a little bit of resource guarding, and then like the jumping, the barking, and then for the barking, is it like on walks? Is he barking, or is he how like?
No, it's mainly he really doesn't bark at other dogs when we're out for a walk or at the park. What he'll do is when he sees a dog, he'll go out on our balcony. We have like a pee pad thing out there, or sometimes we'll just go out there with him, and if he sees a dog, he'll bark at any dog he sees. A lot of times he'll just bark at anything he sees.
But I'd say in the last couple of weeks he's been better just hanging out there. Like,
Yeah.
I'll work out on the couch, and we have like a grass sod. Like,
But that's when he barks, though.
For sure. But he'll bark there, or like if he hears someone in the hallway, like someone's, you know, out back. Like our unit is right off the elevator, so a lot of times people are walking by. So I would say maybe 2 to 3 times a day he'll like be barking at the front if someone's walking by, and then off the balcony probably like 2 or 3 times a day. We live on like a busy city street, so there's like always people, and we're right next to the dog park. That's the other thing. Like, we're right on the corner where the dog park is. So if our doors and windows are open and he can hear like all the dogs in the dog park barking, then that'll instigate him to bark, which, like, again, some of that, like, I know we can't totally control, but if there's anything we can do to control it.
Like, he won't bark at anybody or any dogs like on the street.
Yeah.
I don't know if he's like just afraid to do that, but he'll only do it from like
even when he got in like dog fights and stuff. I don't think he's ever barked.
No.
Yeah.
Okay. And I saw here, did he get the dog Bo? Was he got in a fight with Bo with the bacon?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
no, Bo was the ball.
Oh, Bo was the ball. And when was this? Was this like how long ago was this?
It was the 4th of July.
Yeah, it was actually on the 4th of July.
Oh, so the ball was like thrown, or did he have the ball already?
So if you know Kelly and Pat, so the boys were golfing. Kelly came over at like 10:30, and Bo and Pablo played literally all day, indoors, outdoors, swimming. Like, we went on the boat, they were totally fine. Like, they were great all day. And then it was like probably like 3:30, and they were like, I think Pablo was like digging in the sand, and they were running back in and out of the water, and we had a bunch of balls we were throwing around because the neighbor had 2 dogs too, and Pablo was digging in the sand, and there was a ball in it, and then Bo like went to get the ball, and that's where Pablo got nasty.
Oh, okay. And then was it a full-on fight, or was it just like a little scuffle?
Yeah, like had to pull him off.
Yeah.
What could be worse than it was a full on.
I mean, there wasn't any blood or anything.
Well, yeah, but if you didn't pull him off, it would have.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I kind of have the feeling, like, from what I've seen, it's not good. I don't want him acting like that, but to me, it doesn't seem like he has the intent of actually like hurting another dog.
I mean, what would have happened if you didn't pull him apart?
I think eventually they would have stopped.
I do not.
They would have stopped doing that.
They were like both going at it and not stopping.
Yeah. I think Bo has more of like, I think Bo is a dog that doesn't back down either. You know,
right? So that's my exactly. So Pablo, like, if another dog is going to back down, he would be, but like Bo wasn't backing down either, and for sure Pablo started it, but Bo was not like. And again, he's defending himself too, so it's kind of hard, and we're watching it and trying to pull him apart, but like, it was not going to stop unless we pulled him apart. And Pat was like hitting the shot because he had a shot collar on. Pat was hitting it on repeat, and Tony had to literally like pick Pablo up and like bring him inside.
Okay.
So
and then repeat. Oh, I see. Okay.
And then we ended up leaving after that. So I'm just saying they didn't like see each other again. But the dog that he got in the fight with the bacon about the day prior, Like the next day was at the lake and they were like playing again.
That's good. Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, so it's not like they were like, you know, remembering
hold a
or like,
grudge.
yeah, hating him or something. So
sometimes that could be a thing. If like you pull a dog away from a fight and then you immediately separate them and then they meet again, the last thing they remember is the fight. So then sometimes they go straight back into that fight, continuing it. But it's just some dogs. But it sounds like Pablo doesn't take it personal, you know.
No, I mean, I think it's every time it's happened, I think there's a circumstance around it, because I mean, we go to the park every day, sometimes more than once a day, and he plays with 10 dogs at a time, and there's usually never an issue. So it's very few and far between that, you know, he has that aggression issue. And I think I would say the last two times, definitely chalk it up to just being exhausted and in a, you know, environment where there's lots of people, not a lot of room, way less sleep than he normally gets. That's what I would chalk it up to, but still obviously not good.
He wasn't napping at all. And the room that we were staying in is like an addition to the house, so it has an indoor window, and like the little kids were like climbing through the window, and like, so we're all up till 12 or 1, and then the kids get up between 6 and 7, and then he wasn't napping during the day, and that was from Tuesday, and this happened on Sunday. So like, as I was like Googling and researching some of it, a lot of it said stuff about like being overtired and overstimulated. So I think that some of that's on us to like, you know, like he doesn't have to come on the boat every time. He can like maybe take a nap in the house and like stuff like that for us to learn. But again, to know that he has that side and he can like flip that switch is concerning for us. So we definitely want to address that for sure.
Yeah. Okay. Sounds good. So are you guys looking for the control and like the resource guarding, and then like, so that's like behavior, right? And obedience wise, you said you want the heal and you need the recall. Any other commands you were looking for?
In terms of commands, I would say just recall. Did you say recall? Is that like when he comes to you? Okay. Yeah, that for sure.
He could stay better too, like come and stay kind of together. I mean, he is pretty good at it for how much training he has had, but
he's better. He's good when it's us in our condo. I'd want him to be a little bit better when we're at the dog park and he's off his leash, or, you know,
like if he's chasing a squirrel or chasing a bird.
Yeah, or up in Michigan and we let him off the leash to run around a little bit. I wish he would be better listening, you know, in those circumstances, as far as, you know, coming, going, staying, you know, not jumping on people. He one of his, and I don't think we said this yet, but one of the things he does is anytime anybody comes over, he goes like bonkers. We have to put him on his leash because he just wants to like say hi really bad. So he'll be just going for the door, like just kind of jumping all over people.
Yeah, so we want to obviously address that.
And yeah, then he does excitement peas. I don't know if you can correct that, but he's been the best potty trained dog, and he was so easy to potty train. Like we never had any accidents, but he does, when he gets super excited when people come over, he does like excitement peas on the ground. And that's been going on since like day one, I feel like.
Yeah, he's like wiggling his little body everywhere.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So, yeah, the reason I asked, just so we know like what program would be most appropriate for you, and like, you know, what to give you guys, and, you know, knowing what you're needing and wanting, it makes things a lot easier. But cool. All right. And then you guys did research on it. Obviously you did because you mentioned it, but you know, research on us, and like, you know, you use e-collars, prong collars, all these things, and for our trainings, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, so for Pablo, sounds like he just, again, needs some structure, some discipline, and then some control once he gets like really up there, when he gets amped up and excited. So for Pablo, what do you know about e-collar? Did Bo's parents explain a little bit of it, or?
Yeah, and my parents have a golden doodle and they have an e-collar. So, and like we bought one and I tried to train him on it. And so I did like the vibrate and the tone and then like tried to do the shot, like playing catch. So it was kind of like a positive reinforcement, but to get him used to it.
Yeah.
I obviously didn't do a very good job. Like he doesn't understand it, but we're familiar like from that aspect. But
Yeah, we understand like the idea of it.
Yeah.
We did.
What was the brand?
I have to tell you.
Sport dog.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
It's
Okay.
a gray.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We've seen a couple of those. Yeah. And then Bo uses the brand that we use, Doctra. I don't know if you guys have seen it. It's a little black.
Yeah.
Yeah, so this is the one we got. And I mean, I were, you know, if you guys recommend something else and
Yeah.
are gonna train him on a different one, we can get a different one.
I think because the sport dogs, in my opinion, look very complicated with all the buttons and like different levels.
I think it was complicated too. Like I had to like keep twisting it and I was like, this is not user friendly. Like if it was on vibrate and tone and then I wanted to like do vibrate tone, then shock, then you had to twist it. And I'm like, how am I supposed to do all of this? Like,
yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I'm down to get a different one. So.
Okay. Yeah, so we use Doctra. You know, the way we explain ECOT to people is, you know, have you guys ever been to a physical therapist?
It's
When I
been,
was little.
yeah, it's been a long time.
Yeah. Have you ever had a stim or like a TENS unit?
No.
It's a little like it's like a little therapy thing where they put it on your shoulder, a torn muscle, and it like massages it, like, and, you know, it moves the muscle. So it's called a TENS unit. That same technology that's used on humans in physical therapy is what is on e-collars. So It's just a TENS unit on a collar. It's a muscle contractor, right? Jesse likes to call the e-collar electric, but not electricity. So it's not flowing through the dog's body or anything like that. It's just whatever the two contact points are touching, that's what it's affecting. So if I had it in my hand and I kept increasing the number, you'll start to see my thumb like twitch like that. So that's what e-collar is. They're waterproof. They have a mile to a half mile long range. They're rechargeable. Our model and the brand we use, Dogtra, has 127 levels, right? So on our remote, we just have like one button we use that's already there, and then the knob on top, like the dial, to increase it and decrease it, and then you have your screen there. And that's all.
Yeah, and Kelly showed me the one that you guys had, and she said that you guys use it for daycare too, which is awesome.
Yeah, we use it for daycare.
So is there no on that one? Is there no like tone or vibrate? Just one shock, or just there's just one function?
Yes, we do have the vibration function, but we don't. So that it has vibrate. They call it NIC, and then stimulate continuous. Mm-hmm. So we use NIC. We don't use vibrate. If we're going to use vibrate, it's like for deaf dogs and maybe blind dogs. I forget. But deaf dogs use the vibration function, and then we also use it to make sure it's on, because sometimes, you know, if we're outside, there's a little light that blinks, and sometimes you can't see it. So we'll hit the vibration. Okay, it's on, instead of like putting the contact points on your hand and like, let's say if you know. So that's just how when we use it, but we don't use it for training. But yeah, that's e-collar. For Bo, the first command that we would kind of teach him is called heal, right? So we like to teach this command because it allows Bo to did I say Bo again?
Okay, that's all right. Yeah, we know you're talking about.
Pablo, Bo, it's fine.
Pablo, right? Teaching him what e-collar is, how it turns off, and how it turns on. Out of the 127 levels, I don't know what number Pablo will be on, right? So therapy, they ask, you know, let me know when it feels uncomfortable. When it feels too much, I'll lower it down for you. So once the client says, okay, that's enough, they lower, and they let the machine do its work. So that's very similar to how dog training works, right? Because then Pablo is the one that's going to tell me what his number is, right? So we would teach him like the heal command, let him know how pressure works, the pressure on, pressure off concept, and that it will settle him, right? Because overstimulated dogs, they don't have a job. So they're looking, they don't know what to do. They're kind of all over the place. Like, oh, that stick, what's this stick? Oh, a person, there's a person, a dog, there's another dog. They're all over. They can't really focus. And a lot, one thing that's common, like a pattern, is with the overstimulation in dogs is that owners would say like, I take my dog for like an hour, 2 hour long walk, and I come home and he gets the zoomies, or like he still has energy, but it sounds like Bo, takes naps throughout the day. So it doesn't sound like he's always kind of going.
Oh yeah, and when we're home, like when it's just us and we're working and stuff, he'll sleep for 18 hours a day, or he'll sleep all day and night and stuff. And especially now that he's been neutered, he's definitely calmed down as well. We got him neutered in May. So he's definitely continuing, and he's just getting older. He's continuing to calm down, but we try to, take him on a mile or two walk every day, or go play chuck it, at the park, and play fetch, and, run around and stuff. But yeah, I mean, like when we were up at the lake, I mean, he didn't lay down and nap one time for days, and I think that, again, part of that's like the environment we're in, where that was a lesson for us to be like, okay, we're exhausted when we go home. Like, we can't wait to get home because we're so tired. Like, obviously he is as well.
Yeah. Definitely dogs do need a off switch. They need time to kind of like relax and decompress. So like at our facility, or at other daycares, they sometimes don't even have kennels. They just let the dogs in the room, and that's all. And they're playing all day. And then, one day, well, the daycare lets the owners know, hey, your dog, we can't have your dog here because your dog snaps a lot and we don't know what to do. Well, maybe because all day this dog is being forced in a playground with so many dogs who are overstimulated and they can't stop playing. So they're always playing. And this dog has, is not overstimulated and knows when to turn off and wants to turn off, but they can't because their dog's in their face all day, right?
Yeah.
So then like we got that, this happened, and then the dog came here. And then she was like, because she was consistently always snapping at dogs, always. Not even like after a little bit, because it was getting to the point it was so annoying that she'd enter the play group at the other daycare and just start snapping right away. Not even because she was tired, she just didn't like the area, she didn't like the place, she didn't like the dogs, she didn't like the energy. And then here, once we started first we had to correct the behavior, right? Because she was stuck in that mindset. And then once we correct that behavior, she's like, okay, who are these dogs? And then she kind of got the idea of like, okay, these dogs are calm. Like there's only a few dogs here. It's very controlled. It's not crazy. There's no barking in our facility. We had a lady come in, and then she was like, she gave me a look like, I'm like, yeah. She's like, that dog's not barking at me. I'm like, no. And then she's like, how many are in there? I'm like 40 dogs. She's like, it's so quiet. And she's like, this is amazing, right? So it's very calm here. It's very controlled. And then this dog that had issues was able to just kind of play and be back to her old self, right? So definitely here we do an hour play and an hour rest, so that we give them time to kind of decompress and just kind of like, relax. Once they relax, then they do another activity, whether it be treadmill time or another play group or whatever, whatever we see fit in that moment, right? So I'm thinking the same thing, that it was just a lot of things going on, and he needed some rest time, just didn't get that time, right?
Yeah.
For the resource guarding, the reason why e-collar is the best tool for resource guarding is because it's non-confrontational, right? So when you're pressing that button, Pablo is not going to know it's you, right? So with resource guarding, a lot of trainers, they'll leave the food there and they'll say, leave it. And then like they have the prong collar on and they pop, right? And then like, it's so confrontational because like the dog, it sounds funny, but when you hold a leash and you're moving it with your hand, or like you have a stick, right? And you touch the dog with the stick, that dog is thinking that stick is part of you, right? So that leash, they think it's you. You're technically fighting them over the food. So then they become more defensive, like I'm not going to let you, So like you'll see it happen with Caesar Milan. Caesar Milan with resource guarding. I don't know if you heard the story, but he got bit by that lab. The dog was eating and his hand was there or something. He went at his hand and then he went back with the dog and then he fought. It was too much argument, right? So that's why he got bit, because it was so confrontational, where the dog was like, you're fighting me for this food, so I'm going to fight back. But with e-collar, there's no yelling, there's nothing, there's no word said, it's just tap, you don't do that. And the dog's just like, okay. Because when dogs feel the e-collar, they think it's like the universe. They don't know where it's coming from. They're just like, I'm feeling this means something. I gotta do something to turn off, right? So it saves so much time of, it takes away the risk of, you know, putting your hand in there and getting bit, or just being like annoying, you know, to your dog. Like, you know, it can get annoying, you know. So it takes so many risks away. And then like if you're at like open like area, like say Oz Park, and then, you know, you're playing ball with Pablo, and then like another ball comes out of nowhere, and then you see this dog going for the ball, and then you see Pablo like, oh, what's that? You have the remote from a long distance to kind of correct and stop him from actively going to get that ball and kind of control that situation. Like, nope, you don't do that, right?
Yeah.
So
that's kind of something that like in terms of a ball coming over, or even like people walking by, because he really is like the friendliest dog. I mean, he wants to just run up, and especially he loves he loves people. But and that's fine to say hi to people every now and then, but sometimes I just want him, you know, I don't want him, maybe I think, oh, they don't want to meet you, or, you know, it's just, you don't need to go run up to every person for him just to listen a little bit better. If I'm saying, hey, stay, or, you know, come, Papa, come. And he's taken off and, you know, to go see the people.
Yeah. And like today, for example, there were 3 dogs in this big field, like playing chuck, and everyone had a ball. And he, like, we could throw the ball and another dog could run after his ball, and he just like chills and he doesn't care at all. It was like, again, like, I think it was like, he was like, this is my hole. This is my ball. Like, your face is in my hole. Like, and he's not, again, he doesn't really like get defensive of like areas, but like he plays with balls and fetch and stuff all the time. Fine. I'm interested. So we're going to Cleveland Friday after his evaluation. So we're doing a daycare evaluation Wednesday, Thursday, Friday this week. So tomorrow through Friday.
With us?
Guys? Yeah, with you guys.
Okay.
And then we're going to Cleveland for the week, and we'll be in the same house as my parents' 6-year-old golden doodle, who is, you know, way more passive, and is definitely more passive than like Bo would be going against Pablo, but is still a poodle and like kind of an asshole sometimes. So I'm interested to see how the two of them interact. They've always played nice together, and they've played since he was a puppy, but you know, I'm interested how they'll be this whole next week as we're together with them.
Yeah, I say do your best to just kind of avoid those situations, because Jesse will always say, you know, you have your prevention and intervention, I think what he says. Yeah. So it's like, you know, avoid the whole situation, right? So that nothing happens. But if the situation does happen, you know, then you have the tools like e-collar to address these behaviors. Since there's no way to address them, I would just completely, you know, you eat in your crate or you eat in this room, the dog eats in the other room, they drink water. Only there's no free water, right? So there's not just a bowl of water in the room. I just give it to Pablo in like a room, let him finish it. Okay, the water's gone. There's no food anywhere. There's no, you know, balls or anything like that, right?
And
just
toys and that kind of stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
And my parents are really, they've had a lot of dogs and they're really good with like training and stuff. So there's no kids or anything. It's going to be like all adults. So I think that the environment's going to be way better as well. So, I mean, it should be good. But again, we're just excited to get set up with you guys and to get him, you know, being able to like, so, I mean, our goals as far as like the services you guys offer is to be able to board him with you guys. And then be able to, you know, bring him to daycare a couple times a week, you know, aside from all the stuff that, the training and, you know, the structure and stuff that we want as well. So again, we're open to kind of whatever combination you think makes sense. We definitely don't want to wait until our trip over Labor Day to do any type of training. We'd want to start doing training and get him on the e-collar sooner than later. But I know that you guys had like 1, 2, 3, 4 week program. So, you know, we were like, does it make sense to do daycare and train or some sort of like private training between now and Labor Day, and then do like a 2-week board and train when we're gone to like master everything? Or does that like not make sense with how you guys do it?
Okay. And what was the first program you said? You said something and then board and train. You said daycare and training?
Oh, just like if you guys did like one-on-one training.
Oh yeah.
With us.
So and then when were you gonna go out of town again?
It's September 2nd till the hold on. September 2nd to the 12th.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I think, you know, I think the board and train with in-person training is not really necessary.
Okay.
I think you'd be fine with just either doing an in-person training, or
Because if we'll want to board him
Is it- is
anyways
in-person
during,
trainings, I mean, like, we're there.
yeah.
100%.
yeah,
Because we'll want to board him anyways, I guess is what we're saying during that time period. If he's not going to do board and train, there might be a couple days that our brother takes him for a couple nights, like in the middle of the week. But otherwise, like we would want him to board with you guys for 8 of those 10 days or something like that.
I guess what we could do too is, so for your guys' training, I guess how the packages and cost work. Is it like you do, like, if you were going to train him, you would do it like Monday through Friday for 2 weeks? Like, I guess, or could you do it like where could you train him specific days that we're also planning on doing daycare? Does like that make sense? I guess I'm not sure exactly how it works in terms of like
What
lining
you're
it
offering,
up.
so.
Yeah.
how the board and train works.
No. So I guess in terms of, like you said, in-person training, like,
Yeah, so that's like
you-
one-on-one, right? So for example, it's Sundays. This is an example. We meet on like you tell me your availability, but let's say we find out that Saturdays at 1 p.m. works for us both. So Saturdays 1 p.m. for an hour for it depends on which program you choose, but let's say you choose a 9-week program, you get 10 Saturdays at 1 p.m. for an hour, right? That 10th Saturday is an extra one in case it rains or like you have to cancel or something happens. Life happens, right? So it's just one-on-one. We meet at Oz Park. It's where we operate now with our in-person clients, just because literally everything's at Oz Park. There's off leash dogs running around. There's baseball games. There's dogs just in general, and then rollerblades, scooters. Everything is there.
Yeah.
So we train there from the start. And then that's just how it is. Just like one-on-one for an hour a week. And then we meet every Saturday at 1 p.m. for 9 times, and then 10th one is there in case you need to reschedule or something like that.
Okay.
I mean, do you have any option? I was thinking like 1 hour a week. Like I would think it's
Well,
something more like.
do you ever do like that with like a combination of like daycare and train, like where you guys are training him on the e-collar and then we like go over it for an hour, or like, I guess like we just don't want, like we want to like speed up his training.
Well, yeah, I mean, well, not speed it up, but I guess I just feel like, and I don't know anything about this, so
Yeah.
take it with a grain of salt, but I guess in my mind, like 1 hour a week, is he building, is he getting enough? Is he building that in his head, or is he, come the next week, is he completely forgotten about it?
No,
Especially
as
with
opposed,
like the e-collar. Yeah.
yeah, I mean, or like, do you guys offer anything where it's like, every day for 2 weeks, or even like 3 days for 3 weeks, or like I guess
that's like what the board and training is.
well, maybe explain the date. So I know there's board and train. There's also daycare and train. So that's where you could train him during daycare hours. Is that?
yeah. So
Okay.
if you wanted to do daycare and train, you wouldn't need to do the evaluation. You can go straight into daycare and train. So the daycare and train is where you drop Pablo off for a regular day of daycare from 7 a.m. to 10 a.m. And then you pick him up if you're getting daycare and train, we recommend you pick him up later in the day. So like, around like maybe 4 or like 5. And then we're training him, right? So every command we teach, like the moment we put the e-collar on him and start working with him, it's all recorded. So you're seeing how he's taking to the e-collar, how we're working with him, and he's learning heel, stay, sit down, place, and come and call. All the 6 commands.
Okay.
And they're all filmed for you. And then you get that video once it's all compiled into one. You can practice whenever you want and whenever you can. And then we get follow-up lessons. So like, let's say you do the 10-day daycare and train bundle, right? So it's kind of like around what you're probably looking at. You get 3 hours of follow-up time. So we meet at Oz Park. We, if you've been practicing, like show me what you've been practicing, or if like, sometimes owners like, I didn't feel comfortable practicing, I'd rather have you here first. Then we can start, transferring everything to you and just kind of like walking you through how the commands work and what he knows and everything like that, right? We were able to teach all these commands in 1 day with e-collar. right? So because I know what you're thinking, like 1 hour a week, does that, if it sounds enough, right? But for that 1 hour, we can get so much done. We can make the dog, like our version of heel with the walking command is walk me, stay with me, sit when I stop. If we take 5 steps, Pablo takes 5 steps. If I take 10, Pablo takes 10. If I come to a stop, Pablo's to automatically sit on my left side with his right shoulder parallel to my left leg, no words said, loose leash in any environment, right? We're able to get that done in the first class, about 80, 70% to that much strictness, right?
Okay.
So a lot of, things can happen. So in the in-person, we give you one topic a week to practice so that you're not so overwhelmed. And it's super easy to practice, right? Because everyone walks their dog. So it's very easy to practice that every single day, right? For the daycare and train, again, we teach these commands all day one. He has the foundation. Once they're taught, then he can start getting practice like every single handler throughout the day, and just continue to get reinforced with every single command. And then that's daycare and train. The board and train is the same thing as daycare and train. Everything is filmed. You can schedule your follow-up lessons whenever you want in the middle of the board and train, but if you're out of town, they most likely be after the board and train. You're getting those videos. He still gets to enjoy regular daycare, so he gets to play in play groups. But what else? And then it's
When
just
you do daycare and train, is it like training and then he has like playtime too, or how do you guys typically break up the day?
yeah. So when he comes in, we most likely start training him first before we put him to play, just because it is his first day and we don't want to overwhelm him with like, here's e-collar training. You don't know who I am. You don't know this place. You know these dogs, and here you go in a play, right? So we'll take it slow with him, and then we'll go to playing play groups and slowly kind of introducing him to other dogs and things like that, right? Once he gets used to us, the handlers, and then just like, seeing how he is with the e-collar his first day. So yeah, he gets to enjoy the regular things of
Daycare as well.
So for the daycare and train, like how many hours? So I think you said there was like a 10-day pack for daycare and train.
Yeah.
So like for those 10 days, how many hours of like the day is spent on training versus just normal daycare?
So we do our sessions. Well, that first day it'll be mostly like the whole day, just teaching him.
Okay.
Once he knows everything, our sessions are like 15 to 20 minutes. So there's 2 handlers in the morning. So they do their rounds with all the dogs, the board and trains and daycare trains, and he gets his 15 to 20 minute session. Then the evening shift comes in. Those are 2 handlers as well, and they do their rounds. And then sometimes if like there's like a middle shift, if they have time, because they're doing more like computer work, if they have time, because they're also good at e-collar, they can do their training sessions as well.
Okay.
So daycare and train wouldn't necessarily be with you. It would just be with whoever is.
Yeah. So I teach them. I teach everything first, right? They're good. Everyone is a good reinforcer, but sometimes when things happen, they're not ready to kind of handle that situation yet. If like if they don't know what to do in this situation because things happen, right? So for me, I'll be the one in the videos. I'll be the one teaching everything, and I'll be the one explaining how to practice, what's going on, why maybe why he did something, or like what's good, what's bad, and stuff like that, right? I teach the foundation. Once I have taught the foundation and I make sure everything's good, then I let them know, okay, he's available, for you to practice with and work. Does it make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I kind of think I like the daycare and train because not that we aren't able to do a lot of that on our own. We just both like are crazy busy with work all the time. And like the reality is like, I think that we need him doing those 15 or 20 minute sessions a couple times a day where it's like set up versus us being like, oh shit, now we missed Tuesday and we missed Wednesday. And like, I just think that's the reality of our lives is like, I'm going back to the office. He's out on the road in sales. Like we kind of need, and we want the daycare anyways, just for the sake that we're not going to be here. So I kind of think it makes sense to do the daycare and train.
Yeah.
from what I'm hearing from you. So if like, I guess if tomorrow we're doing the evaluation, you're saying we shouldn't do that? Or like, do you guys have availability for daycare and train? So this is the other thing. We're leaving for Cleveland on Friday, and then we'll be gone for a week, and then we'll be back like the 26th, that Monday. And like, do you typically do, if you have a 10-day daycare and train pass, like you do like kind of like 10 days straight type thing?
So what we do is we recommend owners to bring their dogs for daycare and train Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday.
Okay.
Or it could be Monday and a Wednesday, and then next week Monday and a Wednesday, or like whatever, how you want to go about that. But those are the days we recommend because I'm here Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. So then I'll be able to work with Pablo. If you want to, so then you can either do a few things. You can get the daycare and train package, the bundle, and then just bring him on those set days. But then if you want another day, I'm trying to think.
Because we could bring him additional days where he would, that those same weeks, but he would just be doing daycare. But we would have it spelled out like, hey, for the next 3 weeks, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday is going to be daycare and train. If you want to bring him on Thursday, Friday, it would just be normal daycare.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure like later in the program you can bring him Thursdays or Fridays. It wouldn't be a big deal because again, like I teach the foundation, and once I make sure everything's going good, you're pretty much set, but I'm just letting you know. Yeah. But you can also purchase a daycare and train bundle and a regular daycare bundle, and then just say today is a daycare day, not daycare and train. Letting them.
Oh, I see. So they're separate. They're separate costs. Okay, that makes sense.
So what are your thoughts on this? We already have the evaluation set up Monday or Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Okay. Like, should we just still do that tomorrow, Thursday, Friday, just like get him used to the place and whatnot, and then start for like the daycare and train if you guys have availability, like when we get back on the 26th, and then we could do like 2 days we're gonna have a week break, and then we could do like 2 days that week, 2 days the next week, 2 days the following week, like something like that.
Yeah, you can do that if you'd like, or you're more than welcome to start. Yeah, okay, I see what you're saying. Because since you're already doing the evaluation and you need the 15th, 16th, right? And I wouldn't be here, so yeah, you can do the evaluation, and then continue. You said the 26th is when you get back, right?
Yeah, because like even like. And I don't know what your schedule is, but like for us to start this tomorrow doesn't, because then it's like we're going to be gone, so I just don't think it like makes sense.
Well, here's the other thing. Do you think like with doing the daycare and train, do you think like his first day should start with that? Like, do you think we shouldn't do the evaluation for that reason? Or what was the reason for the eval? Was that
they just like before dogs go to daycare, they just have to do
it. So if you're doing daycare training, that's kind of the same thing as an eval.
Basically, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, how much do we pay for that?
It's like $60
for the whole 3 days.
Yeah.
Like whatever. Yeah, for the eval.
3 days.
So I guess I think we should still do it unless you think he's better off going right into daycare and training.
It'll be because we have owners who take breaks, for the daycare and training. It's not a big deal, but yeah, if you wanted to do, because you already paid for the evaluation, right?
Yeah, so like what I'm thinking is like, why don't I just bring him tomorrow for the evaluation? We'll do that for the next 3 days. He'll get like used to your facility, right? And then we can bring him, if like it works, we could bring him on the 26th and say we did like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday that week, and we did daycare and train, and then we did like the next week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, or Monday, Wednesday, or whatever. And then like for like those 3 weeks, like the end of July and then the first 2 weeks of August, we basically did like a 10-pack split between those 3 weeks.
Yeah, that works.
Like something like that is kind of what I was thinking.
Yes.
And then does that work for you?
Yeah, it should work. We don't right now we just finished a whole bunch of daycare and training, so we have availability.
Okay.
But yeah, that should work. Yeah, cool. And
And
then,
then-
also, so go for it. Go.
Oh no, I was just gonna say, as far as like for the daycare, like, and to set this up, like, should I just talk to, like, when I get there, because I'm gonna drop them off in the morning, should I just talk to them about this tomorrow morning?
Tomorrow morning, you'll just let them know, my dog's Pablo. He's here for an evaluation. He's a resource. Let them know that he's a resource guarder with dogs, not humans, right? Except with kids. Kids
Like
are
a
different.
little baby that's like grabbing a bone marrow bone, shit like that.
Okay. So let them know, and then you don't really need. There's no need to tell them about anything about daycare and train.
Okay.
When you're ready for daycare and train, you can email me, and then we'll get you billed up and booked.
Yeah,
But
we'll just email you tonight because
Yeah, I mean, if you're good with that, I think like that, if that works for you, I'm fine to start that the 26th.
Yeah, what we can even do is just do, because you're there Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday.
correct.
Okay, so why don't we just do the Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, the week of the 26th, the 2nd, and the 9th. And then there's one more day there if it's a 10-day pack that we'll figure out
Another day. Yeah.
Yeah. And then it's a bundle. So like if something happens where you can't make it a day, you still have that day. You don't lose.
Okay.
Do
Do you like doing 2 days a week or 3 days a week? Do you think it makes sense to have them come Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, or Monday, Wednesday?
You can do 3 days your first week if you want, and then you can do it just depends on how much time you'd want, him here.
I'm looking at that like it's daycare anyways. So
Right.
To me, unless you would tell us, hey, it's too much training in one time period, I would say let's just do it. Right?
Yeah.
I mean, because I'm looking at it like he's getting training, but he's also out of our hands for the day and doing daycare as well, so
Yeah, and I want him to be super familiar with you guys because, again, like when we leave in September, we're going to be doing like boarding and daycare, even if the training isn't part of that. I want him to be like, going to you guys for a month and a half and like used to going there every day and used to all of you. So if we leave for 10 days, it's not like,
correct.
Yeah, and I don't think,
you guys are calling us when we're in Europe, like,
I don't think we'll board him the whole time. I mean, I think my brother will take him,
for sure. But
we'll
like,
definitely board him like 4 days or so.
yeah, and I had talked to Kim about that before when we were setting up the evaluation. Like, how do I set up those boarding days, or like, how does that work?
Yeah, so you can do it on Ginger, I believe.
Okay, I think does he have to do the evaluation first?
I think so. I'm not sure if they will.
I can call and ask her about it, but like once he goes tomorrow, or ask them tomorrow. I don't know if she'll be there in the morning, but
and then if you don't know how to figure it out on Ginger, you can always just give us a call or email us like, hey, I was having trouble on Ginger, I'd like to do these dates, and then we can get you set up in that way as well. I
just didn't want it to like fill up and you guys not be able to take them for because it's Labor Day. So
yeah, I mean, I don't think I'm not sure what our capacity is, but I mean, July 4th, we had 40 dogs here, so I think it was fine.
Okay.
So I think you should be fine, but yeah.
You guys let them go outside to go to the bathroom, right?
Oh yeah. We don't. There are some daycares out there who just kind of let them pee and poop in the facility, but we have a lot of outdoor space right here to let them go potty and everything like that.
Okay.
Because they carry that to home. If they're letting their dogs out pee and pooping inside, they carry that home sometimes. We've had clients tell us we couldn't go to the other daycare because they were letting them pee, poop, and then their dog started peeing and pooping in the home. So it was bad. I mean,
that's so crazy. I read that at one of the places and I was like, what? It's disgusting. Yeah. I assume that wasn't the case for you guys. It just randomly popped in my head. Okay, cool. So I think I have your email.
And it's enrique@canineperspective.com.
Yeah,
and then
I do.
Real quick, because we have you're more like the 10 or 15 day, right? With this 10 day, like I said, heel, stay, sit down, come. We can also touch on resource guarding as well. right? So
Okay.
if he's, because the issue with like, we had a board and train come in for, you know, obedience and reactivity. And they're also, another one of the priorities was resource guarding. So when they dropped off their dog did not care about anything. Like they didn't care about the food, toys, nothing. And like this dog would actively go after the owner, or like, you know, if the one time the owner had the dog muzzled, the dog took off the muzzle and went after the owner. It was like a crazy thing.
Oh my
But then the
God.
dog, like, you know, we gave him food. Dog didn't care. Like we threw balls at the dog. The dog didn't even want to chase the ball. It was just very like, just didn't want to do anything. So like, you know, we can do some resource guarding as well, see how it goes. And we'll teach you how to kind of disengage Pablo from a resource, right?
Okay.
And how that would look. And then there'll be a video as well for you to watch. So I think the 10-day would be perfect because you get 2 1-hour-long videos, and that could be in your second video of the resource guarding. And then 3 hours of follow-up. And then just a heads up, we also have a 15 and 20, but that's if you're looking for more obedience. The 15 is, and then by the way, the 10-day is 1,600.
Okay.
Right? And then this consultation will be credited towards your
Total or whatever. Yeah, that's what Kim said. Okay.
Yeah, and in terms of so I guess with the daycare training, you don't really need to pick like a package. We can kind of just tell you what we need. Like it's not like you need to pick like behavior, obedience, or.
Oh no, yeah. I mean, you're fine with like the 10-day daycare.
Okay.
What's like the difference between the 10 and 15-day? Like what else additional is taught?
It's more so like for like the videos, you get 2 videos of 10-day. The first video is teaching all the commands on short leash, and then we practice for a week on short leash. The rest of the program on that 10-day is the long leash phase, where I do another video of how we teach all these commands, how we work these commands while we have a 30-foot long leash. Because now Pablo has all this area and room to make mistakes, and how we kind of correct these behaviors and kind of still have reliable obedience with this long leash, because we're holding the end of the long leash. We're not holding all of it. We're like letting him, you know, do whatever you want, but you need still to come and call and doing all these things. The 15-day is when we advance him, because it's like I said, it's more advanced obedience, when we advance him into a play group setting with the long leash and working him while there's dogs running around him and
like that.
And activities going on. Yeah.
I kind of like that because like he listens well when it's us. It's like when he's stimulated in a group, like, or a park, or you know.
You guys don't like work that part of it into the 10-day. That's only the 15-day when you do that type of training. Okay.
Yeah.
It's like a week.
Okay.
So could we do the 10-day and then add on like additional week?
Yeah, that should work because we have the a 5-day bundle.
Oh, okay. So we could do like a 10-day and then be like, okay, like we still want a little more, or like we think he's good and he's listening really well, and then we could just add that on and do that. Okay, cool.
Yeah, and then you can also, like, let's say you do the 10-day, right? And then you're like, okay, let's see how he is with his friends. And if you find that he's really good, right? He's like, wow, he listens with his dog friends and everything. Then you're like, we don't need that extra 5 days because he's already, we're satisfied with what we have. Does that make sense?
Yeah, maybe we'd be able to tell that like throughout those weeks too.
Yes.
You know, the 10-day pack, like, hey, you know, I don't think we need to go the extra 5.
Or like we want to, just for him to be even better.
Exactly.
I mean, I just want him to like listen perfectly. Which I know that's everyone's goal, but like again, like we've had him for 10 months, but he's like traveled through a lot of different places and states and houses and been with a lot of different dogs, and like he's going to continue to be in that type of environment throughout his life. I mean, I know a lot of dogs like are, but I want him to be able to just interact and like adapt to kind of any situation. And like he, even back to the resource guarding with us, like if we were to give him something and take it away, like he would let us take it. But if my 2-year-old nephew tried to, he'd freak out, you know?
Yeah.
So obviously that's, you know, the one thing I was going to ask you about the e-collar, do we need to purchase that, or do you guys have them there that we can purchase?
Yeah. So since you're doing the daycare and train, a lot of like board and trains and daycare and train clients just, you know, will buy it from you guys because we have them here instead of you ordering it and then like bringing it.
That's perfect.
Yeah, we'll just do that.
Yeah. So
that way we don't
after this, after this consultation, I'll send you a follow-up email with the 10-day. I'll include the 5-day price just so you have it there, and the 15 just so you have it all together, and like what it holds. I'll also send you the e-collar I recommend for Pablo. An Amazon link in case you decide to order online. It'll be there, and then we sell them for the same price as well. There's no difference. What a kind of like a payment plan would look like. It's more like a down payment. What that would look like with your daycare and train program. And since you're already filled out everything on Ginger, and like you also signed the agreement thing, I believe, you're pretty much all set. So it's just, whenever you're ready, let us know. We can begin billing and booking once, I guess, like we can bill and book you guys like tomorrow, like basically, because you've already done
we'll just get it set up.
And then we can like lock in like Labor Day weekend, and then figure out kind of what we're gonna do for that too, just as far as boarding goes. Cool. Okay. Awesome.
Anything else about like the e-collar or like the trainings or anything like that? Any questions?
Really? I mean, I love that we have like the 3-hour like follow-up or whatever with you, because that's going to be like huge.
I actually have one question. Can we those 3-hour follow-up, can we do like maybe like 1 hour after the first week?
Yes.
Are they all okay? So we can do it kind of throughout the process, just to kind of, I think it's also, it's obviously important for, the videos will be great, but obviously important for you to kind of run through what he's been learning, and
tell us we're doing it wrong.
That way we can just make sure we're enforcing it at home and practicing it at home and everything.
Yeah. And then another follow-up lesson could be an in-home session where we kind of teach you how to address Pablo when guests are entering the home, because that's an exercise as well.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Yeah, so that could be a follow-up, and then you're more than welcome to schedule a follow-up whenever you like throughout the program. Anything else?
I think that's like everything that I had. For tomorrow, just for the evaluation, like we were going to drop him off just because of our work schedules, like around 7:30, but I know that he's not, like his first day is not really like around dogs or playing and stuff. Should we try to pick him up like earlier tomorrow then?
It's personal preference. He'll have his free time to play pen, ball time. We'll teach him how to walk on the treadmill. He's going to get walked anyways around the facility, because everyone has to become acclimated with him.
All the different handlers. Okay, got it.
15, 20 minutes, we'd walk him around the facility with, I would do one walk, Andy would do one, Elias, whoever is here would do their walks around him with the facility. So he's like, okay, I know who this guy is. Like, we know when to come pick him up.
Yeah.
And she's just worried about, the first day with no interaction with dogs, that he's just going to be like by himself all day.
Yeah, I just wanted to make sure that, the other question was like, if we board him, are we able to like check in with you guys and be like, how is he and stuff like that after a couple days? Okay.
Oh yeah. So if they forget tomorrow, if they don't ever forget, but you can follow us on Instagram and then shoot us a direct message, and then you can, because sometimes we're really busy, but we do our best to post stories on our Instagram story, and we try to always get the evaluation dogs up there so you can see how they're doing. And then by the end of your evaluation process, we send you a report card through Ginger on like how day 1 went. Day 2,
okay, cool.
Day 3, you'll get a report card. But then after that, during the regular daycare, we don't make report cards, because then we would have to be doing it for every.
Yeah, I mean, that's insane.
No, it just means for boarding.
Like if we were gone for like 5 days, just to be like, how's Pablo doing? Like, just I didn't know if that was like,
that would be through the Instagram, or you can email us or anything like that. But yeah, since it's his first boarding, we'll make sure to let you and update you guys on how that goes. But yeah, it definitely follows on Instagram, so you have that connection, because the Instagram, everyone has access to it here, so it's a quicker response versus like one person you're emailing kind of.
Perfect. Cool. All right, awesome. Well, yeah, well then we'll look out for your email, and then as soon as we get that, we'll set that up. And then for boarding, do you guys typically do it like by packages, or is it just like by night type thing?
It's by night. It's $50 per night.
Got it. Okay. So like if I wanted to sign him up for that, like we would just like, you like book it through Ginger as well.
Yes.
Got it. Okay. Awesome.
Cool.
All right, well, thank you so much, Enrique.
Of course. And then real quick, because when were you planning on, so when were you planning on going out of town again?
It's the 2nd of September until the 12th. So we would probably want to board him like the 2nd till the 6th, and then maybe like the 9th through the 12th again or something like that.
And then you're going out of town. Okay, that's when you'll board him, but then you're going out of town this weekend,
Next
right?
week.
Okay. Oh,
Yeah,
we're gonna leave Friday after his last eval day, and we won't be back until the following Sunday. So that next Monday is when we were the 26th. When we were talking about starting the daycare train.
Good. Yes, that works.
That works for you.
Awesome. Great. All right, guys. Well, I will see. I work tomorrow, so I'll be seeing Pablo tomorrow, and I might see you guys on pickup as well. I won't be here in the morning, but I will see Pablo tomorrow.
Right. Tony's in
I'll be
charge of
picking him
pickup.
up,
I have
so
a
I'll see
happy
you.
hour, but you'll get to see him.
All righty, guys. Nice meeting
All
you.
right.
And speaking with you as well.
Thank you. It's so nice to meet you
Enrique.
too.
Have a good night, buddy.
Have a great one. Bye.
Bye.